All right, guys. Hey, we finally have arrived on some Brioni, and this one is a popular one. A lot of my close friends rock with this fragrance. A lot of people talk about it online. So I had to put my nose on it, because at first glance I thought, you know what, I'm going to blind buy this, but you guys know me, man. It's really hard to push me over to the edge, man. I don't FOMO out too much, but y'all have gotten me a couple of times, but not this time. We're going to analyze this fragrance. Strap up. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. From the House of Brioni, we have Eclat. I went to Neiman's tonight, and I tried a lot of fragrances, and Brioni is not one that stands out. They kind of had this off to the side, because there were only like 3 or 4 Brioni fragrances. So when it caught my eye, I had to stop and I said, I want to bring that to the channel because I know it's a popular one. I've considered purchasing it. I know many people have had it on the radar because it's just considered to be a really nice, fresh, light, blind grab, dumb reach type of fragrance. And so I had a gal put it on a test strip, load it up for me and put it in the car. And so my initial thoughts on it was really nice, fresh type of grapefruity, almost aquatic, but not quite. I would say more aromatic. Warm type of fragrance. But I wanted to let it sit in the car for an hour and see how the dry down was. Cause my biggest concern with a fragrance like this is going to be performance. Not that I really care about performance, but I do care if performance affects the DNA basically breaking down quickly. You know what I'm saying? If a fragrance is 3 to 4 hours, I don't care if for that 3 to 4 hours, I still get the nuts of the DNA maintained. You know what I'm saying? But if it is just with every half hour to hour just decomposing and becoming less and less of what it was, that's when a fragrance really kind of pisses me off. So anyways, initial thoughts for the second time on this fragrance upon 1 hour worth of dry down is it definitely lightened up to about half of the fragrance that it was. And so it still kind of has that light, slight aquatic, more airy, grapefruity touch at the top, floral even, it almost has a nice soap / linen feel with a touch of grapefruit. But let's go ahead and look at this at a note breakdown and kind of use the internet to kind of guide us on what the general consensus is on longevity, because there's no doubt that it's a great smell. I don't know if I would necessarily call it like a 9 out of 10. I'm thinking more of the 8 out of 10 range in terms of just creativity of DNA. But let's go ahead and go down here. Up top, we have grapefruit, olibanum, and pink pepper. In the middle, we have rose. So there's that floral freshness we're getting. Patchouli, and in the base, we have musk, ambroxan, and sandalwood. So very simple DNA, slight citrus, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of freshness, a little bit of earthiness, very light on the nose. And that's pretty much it. This is kind of like your dumb reach, blind grab, slightly invigorating, everyday crash course type of fragrance. But it's got some charm because it's not just linen, it's not just citrus, it's not just soapy, but it's kind of a mix of these that leans in the direction of something a little bit more, I don't want to say signature, but has a little bit more character than your typical linear freshie. Okay, so let's just check the consensus on the performance. So it's not very long lasting is what the general consensus is here. Not strong, so moderate type of sillage on it. Yeah, so, I mean, guys, we can kind of cut to the chase here. The fragrance is good. It's above average, but it's nothing wildly out of the park. If you like light, airy citrus with slight freshness from florals and musky and, just like a beautiful, nice light out of the shower, everyday casual fragrance, Brioni Eclat definitely is it. I definitely think you're going to have to spray north of 6 sprays with a fragrance like this. I might even venture to say 8 to 10 sprays might be the bare minimum just to get you through about 5 hours in the day. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, if you like lighter fragrances and you feel like your freshie game is a bit weak, you need a little more dimension to it, This is certainly a great grab. I'm definitely curious to see what the price is on something like this. Looks like it retails for about somewhere between 40 and 60 bucks. Let's see what Fragrance by CA is showing it for. And we might as well show the window here because a lot of you guys ask me where I get my fragrances. This is definitely one of the websites. Brioni Eclat. Well, first we have to spell Brioni correctly. Is this site down? Like, what's the deal? Brioni. Here we go. Good grief. Okay, so it looks like you can get an even lower price here on Eclat for 38 bucks on the 60 ml concentrate. What's the 100? The 100 is what? Okay, so the difference in price. So you pay an extra 17-ish bucks, you get the 100 ml, which I think is totally worth it if you absolutely have to have this fragrance. But the DNA is really nice. You know, I would almost liken this to a more light, airy, musky take on something like Lalique's Encre Noir Sport. Like if you smelled Encre Noir Sport and you felt like it was too earthy bitter for that type of grapefruit profile, because they're both, because that fragrance is definitely like an aquatic vetiver strong, but vetiver like earthy bite to it. So it makes a more bitter take on kind of more the rininess of the grapefruit, not necessarily the citrus. So if you smelt that fragrance hoping it would be a great out of the shower fragrance, but it made you feel a little old because it wasn't as fresh as you thought people have described it to be, Brioni would be a more icy, fresher, aromatic take on that. But they smell virtually the same in terms of the DNA. It's just you're going to get a more sweet, tardy citrus up top, but this is a very light and airy fragrance. This might be one, honestly, where you layer it with something like Encre Noir Sport simply due to the performance. Like you might put Encre Noir Sport in the base and then just load Brioni on top of it to push the 8-hour range. But I don't know. I don't see a fragrance like this lasting past 5 hours unless you just really douse with it. This kind of might have an equal performance with Elysium, that type of DNA, maybe even a little bit less, to be honest, just due to it having much less ingredients in the composition. But hopefully some of my homies like Novice Nose, like CR Saint, who I know have Eclat, can speak to the performance of it, and if so, what amount of sprays got them that level of performance. But again, 8 out of 10 fragrance. Would I buy it? Probably not, just because in my collection, I think I can scratch this itch with quite a few of my fragrances. If you like Maj, the Moscow Mule, Maj Mule or whatever, fragrance, if you like Encre Noir Sport, if you like anything light, airy, linen-y, citrus, if you like any like super aquatic but grapefruity-esque stuff, if you like grapefruit at all, this is going to be something you want to at least put your nose on. I don't think it's blind buy worthy simply because of the performance. I don't know if I can justify $40 to $60 for a fragrance that is just so underperforming, specifically because the DNA is just slightly above average, but it is definitely a great fragrance. Yeah. So that's what we're going to leave it at. Any season, any reason, ageless, super casual. I don't think it can go anything above casual. You know, seasonless, you can rock it for anything. Alternatives to this, we already went over a few of them. Yeah, guys, this fragrance is basically like an ice water in a glass with some squeezed grapefruit in it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the vibe I get from this, but definitely an easy wear with a touch of florals. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to provide, but that's it for the for this fragrance. Not as interesting as I hoped it would be, but certainly a good kind of baseline staple dumb reach fragrance if you don't want to have to think about fragrance and grab it. So 8 out of 10 for me, but it hasn't moved the needle for me to pick it up, but it is a great fragrance if you're on the market for one and your freshy game is a bit light. I think this is one of the better ones that I've smelled, but be ready to overspray with a fragrance like this. Like, comment, and subscribe, but more importantly, turn on your notification bell so you know when we're posting videos every single day. We drop so much creative content, it's not even funny, and it feels like every 2 weeks I have another major announcement to give to you guys, so stay tuned for all of that. This was Brioni's Eclat, a nice, pleasant surprise. Didn't expect to see this in Neiman's because I didn't think it was a niche house. Maybe it isn't even, but I mean, it had to be special enough for Neiman's to be carrying it because they only carry a very limited selection, mostly niche. But that's all my time for today. Until next time, y'all be blessed. And this is the Scent Bubble, man. Peace.